Namaste. My name is Monica Desai Henderson, and my connection to India started before I was born. And since I'm a storyteller here at the Asian Art Museum, the format of my 5-minute talk is a little bit more story-like. So this starts sometime in the middle of the last century, when two unsuspecting people from opposite sides of the earth met each other and fell in love. Rajnikant Thakurbai Desai was a student from Mumbai, India, who came to UC Berkeley to study structural engineering. Helen Alice Crane, of European and German ancestry, was a student coming to UC Berkeley in art history. So after they graduated, and despite the resistance by their respective parents about their interracial relationship, which was very unusual at the time, they got married. And sometime later, much to their delight, they found out they were going to have their first baby. They moved to India because my father got a job in Jamshedpur, Bihar state in India. And although they lived there for less than 2 years, no one could have suspected what that early experience, how it would have influenced this baby to be. I was told that while still in the womb in India, the first music I heard was that of the sitar, the rhythmic pulse of the tabla, the drone of the tambura, that I heard the jingling ankle bells of Indian dancers, that I heard the ambient sounds that defined Jamshedpur, the sing-song, a call of the street vendors, the animated conversations of people speaking Hindi, Gujarati, Bengali, the distant sounds of cows, of roosters, dogs, cars. And I'm sure that through osmosis, I must have felt the heat, the humidity, I must have tasted those spices, and I must have smelled that incense. Now, growing up, being a product of two cultures, I felt rather proud, and I felt different than my peers, and somehow I really relished that difference. But somehow I always identified a little bit more with my Indian heritage, probably because my parents cultivated that in the home. We learned the stories of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. We ate Gujarati food. We celebrated the Indian holidays. We went many times to India, and I tagged along with my mother many times to the Asian Art Museum when it was still in the Golden Gate Park and when she was a docent in those days. So later in my life, it was no surprise that when I stepped foot into my first Indian dance class, I felt I was home, because there were the dancers doing beautiful rhythms with their feet. There was the grounded rhythm of the tabla. There was incense filling the room. And I just took up Kathak dance, feeling that it was meant for me. And through the dance, I learned so much about the stories of the gods. I learned about the power of Lord Brahma, the steadiness of Vishnu, the fierce, fiery quality of Shiva as his destroyer of evil and as the cosmic dancer. I learned about the grace of Ganesha and all of his many attributes, his big belly, his tusks, and like that. So through the stories, I learned much more about the rich culture from where I came. I even learned that inanimate objects had life, like the water, the fish within the water, the birds that flew over the water, and the lotuses that grew from its depths. So dance was a great joy for me. It really brought me a little closer to India. And then when I had 2 little girls of my own, I realized that I loved storytelling so much that I decided to join the Asian Art Museum storytelling program. And so through that, I learned many of the stories about the gods, the goddesses, the demons, and they became solidified yet further in my mind. And I got to learn about the third floor galleries, and through my yoga, I noticed that the gods not only know how to dance and have many stories, but they also do yoga. There's Vishnu in Tadasana mountain pose, so steady Why? Because if he even vibrates an iota, the world will be thrown off balance. There is Shiva in a warrior pose with his bow and his arrow poised to strike the demons who have momentarily taken over the three realms of heaven, sky, and earth. And like that, through the galleries I've seen, the kind of integration of all of the things I've learned. And so just by virtue of that, I felt that integrating that idea of body, mind, and breath through the practices I've taken, I feel a deeper affinity for yoga, a deeper love for yoga, and a greater respect for the universal human story that we all share. Namaste.